Gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air on a Thursday here in the Quad Cities. It is Thursday, March 6th. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Another jam-packed show to get to today. If you're watching us on YouTube, we appreciate that. The channel is Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Up over 725 subscribers. We want to keep that going. So if you know someone that is watching, or if you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe. Tell a friend or two about what we're doing here in the Quad Cities each and every day. Also, thank you to everybody watching live on X. I'm getting a lot of people that tell me that they check out the show every day. And I really appreciate that for all the everyday people, all the everydayers, if you will, that check us out no matter what we're doing, no matter what we're talking about. We really do appreciate that as well. And of course, all of the shows are available via the podcasting platforms as well. You got Apple, Spotify, Podbean, all of those, iHeart, all of the podcasting platforms. If there's a podcasting platform that you use that we're not on, let me know. I'll make sure we get on that as well. But I think we got all of our boxes checked when it comes to that as well. And the cool thing is we do this every single day. So I know it's a lot to get 2 hours of content every single day and then be ready for the next day. So go back and check out some shows. On Monday, we had Gary Dolphin and Pat Anger on. Ton of fun with that one. That one's been viewed a ton so far. So go check out the broadcast team for Iowa football on Monday. That was a lot of fun. Then yesterday, Scott Docterman was fantastic. Doc has all the knowledge when it comes to the upcoming NFL draft. We talked about Darian Porter from Bettendorf. We talked about the Iowa State wide receivers doing really well at the combine. Doc was down there. We talked about Illinois football just in general. He had a long conversation with Brett Bielema last week, so you'll want to check that out if you're a Illini fan. Also talked about Caleb Johnson and the Iowa prospects that are coming up in this year's draft as well. So Doc was fantastic once again. Go check that out. It's well worth the listen. That was on yesterday's Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. On today's show, we got a lot to get to. It's a big night in Iowa City for the Iowa men's basketball team. It's a weird night as well. A weird and a big 4 or 5 days for Iowa basketball. They host Michigan State tonight. The Spartans looking to win an outright Big Ten championship. So we'll see if the Spartans can do that. Then, of course, a lot of speculation around the future of Iowa basketball. Last home game for the seniors. We don't know if it'll be the last home game for other people associated with the program as well, including possibly Fran McCaffrey. We'll see how everything plays out after the season. Iowa will go to Nebraska coming up on Sunday as well. So we'll talk with Tom Kakert about all of that coming up in just a matter of moments. Also, super excited for my second guest, someone spent a lot of time with, especially during the pandemic, someone that did some fantastic work here in the Quad Cities. Celia Palermo used to be one of my sidekicks over at WQAD. She's with the PGA Tour right now. Celia will join us soon as well. We'll talk to her about her memories from the Quad Cities, get caught up with her, but also a lot of golf talk. The John Deere Classic is 118 days away, believe it or not. So we'll talk a lot of John Deere Classic, the memories there. Get ready for the Masters. The Masters is 5 weeks away. And also this weekend's tournament, I think it's the Arnold Palmer this week as well. So a lot of golf talk coming up with our own Celia Palermo coming up in just a little bit. And then also in hour number 2, boy, those Sherrard Tigers did it again. They won their 30th game of the season. They do it in dramatic fashion. We had Rylan Carton on the show. Gosh, I think it was Monday. We had Rylan on the show on Monday. He hits a buzzer beater in overtime last night to punch his ticket, or the Tigers ticket, to the Sweet 16. So It's that old off-the-air magic doing it once again. You come on the show, good things happen, I guess. So we'll talk with their head coach, Alex Johnson, coming up an hour number 2 of our show as well. And that's kind of where I'll start today. Congratulations to a pair of teams. The area's basketball is slowly winding down. Not a lot of teams still alive on both sides of the river. In fact, in Iowa, it's just Central DeWitt next week. And the boys, the girls are done. And in Illinois, the girls are done. And for the boys wise, it is Sherrard and Princeton. Both Tigers, the Sherrard Tigers and the Princeton Tigers getting sectional victories in semifinal play last night. They're both in the Sweet 16. As I mentioned, Sherrard will play Manual coming up on Friday. And Princeton will be in a championship game in sectionals as well against our only other area team, Rock Falls. So we are guaranteed at least one area team getting to that super sectional coming up on Monday. Hopefully Sherrard can join them as well. So congratulations to all those teams. It's a great time of year. And as I mentioned, Alex Johnson from Sherrard coming up in a little bit in hour number 2 of the show. Also, college basketball wise, the Big Ten tournament for the ladies in full swing. The Iowa women do what the Iowa women do. They beat Wisconsin last night for the 31st time overall. 31 straight victories over the Badgers. This one wasn't close, 81-54. Lucy Olson led the way with 19 points. More importantly, Lucy only had to play 23 minutes. A lot of those starters didn't have to log big minutes, and when you're looking at a daunting task of winning 5 games in 5 days, that was important for Iowa, to get a big lead, get the starters rested, get some youth, those freshmen, get their feet wet at the Big Ten tournament. So a good night for the Iowa Hawkeyes. They'll now play Michigan State tonight at 8 o'clock. The Spartans beat Iowa the only time they played way back in December. Interested to see how quickly things have changed and how much things have changed, I should say, between the December game between the Spartans and Hawkeyes and what might happen tonight at 8 o'clock. Also, the Atlanta women are in action tonight at 5:30. They will take on Nebraska in the Big Ten tournament. So we wish Shauna Green and company the best of luck as they get ready for a big matchup with Nebraska coming up. Also, Big 12 tournament. The Iowa State women start tonight. They'll take on a 10-win Arizona State team. And when I say 10 wins, I don't mean 10 wins in Big 12 play. I mean 10 wins overall. So Iowa State hoping to get off on the right foot as they take on Arizona State coming up on, or I should say tonight at 5:30. As I mentioned, game on the men's side tonight. It's Iowa and Michigan State. That game at 7 p.m. on FS1. And we welcome back a familiar face to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Tommy, I've missed you. I know you've been busy. I understand it. We really do enjoy Kyle being on the show. As I said to Kyle the other day, you're Tom Kakert, but better looking. So we appreciate what he's been doing, but thanks for taking some time to join me. Yeah, I told him you set a very low bar when it comes to looks at the Hawkeye Report. But how you been, buddy?
We're grinding through the end of the basketball season, so it's interesting times.
Yes, it is. I think we'll talk about the interesting times with Iowa basketball with you in just a second, but I want to ask you about 2 other things before we talk Hawkeyes. Everybody's like, Tom's on, it's time to talk Hawks, and it is, but your Bears have been active the last couple days. A pair of new offensive linemen. Your thoughts and how excited are you?
They had to rebuild it, and you know, the great Ben Johnson knows that the key to success is having a great offensive line, right? So, yeah, they've got they've picked up some linemen that they can build upon, and you know what it kind of brings to the table potentially is I kind of thought that they might have to, you know, just draft an offensive lineman, and they still might do that, but it opens up the ability to do other things if they wanted to with that first round pick this year, or you know, do something with or draft an offensive lineman in the second round because they have 2 picks.
Do you know what's going to happen? Let me explain it to you, Tommy. Yes, you're right. Ben Johnson knows you went up front. the people in Chicago have yet to figure that out for a long, long time. They just complain about it. So they know it starts up there. Now, I would rather develop through the draft when it comes to the trenches, but I mean, picking up old guys that are hurt all the time, that's a good idea too. Jonah Jackson doesn't do anything for me. He's DeAndre Swift. He's the guy that the Lions had. If they wanted him still, they would have kept him last year. He went to another organization that chose that they didn't want him as well, and now he's going to the Bears, similar to DeAndre, starting with the Bears, going to Philly, another good organization. They said, no, we don't want him either. So Jonah's fine. He's an upgrade. He knows Ben Johnson. I'm not saying he's bad, but he's fine. The Tooney's a great pickup. Older guy, but still a great pickup. I think they draft Ashton
30,
Tooney.
He's 32. You're acting like he's like
he's 30.
40. He's 32.
Hold on. He's 33. He's on the last year of a contract. So he's going to be a 34-year-old free agent next year on the offensive line. He's older. He's not young. He's probably got 2-3 years for. I mean, he's 36. Is going to be done. He's an offensive lineman. But they're not trying to win in 3 years. They're trying to win now. They're going to draft Ashton Genty. Mark my word. Yes.
Nope.
Trust, Ben Johnson wants a toy. Ben Johnson knows that you win in this league by big plays and running game. And that's what he wants to do. He had DeAndre Swift in Detroit, and he got rid of him. Like, trust me, he's going to get himself – they're putting themselves into a position where they have the ability to fix the offensive line and still draft a running back. That's my prediction. So,
if he wants a toy, then you trade up and get Travis Hunter.
That's the ultimate toy. But I still think I just feel like after these moves, you draft a center in the second round, you pick up a center in free agency. We haven't hit free agency, and now they almost have the offensive line solidified. I don't know if it's solved, but it's definitely solidified.
Bears talk.
Okay,
Bears
enough
talk.
is enough.
Nobody wants to hear me talk about the Bears.
Enough is enough. Enough is enough. So, all right, Iowa basketball tonight at Carver Hawkeye Arena, senior night. Sell this to the fans. Give me the storylines behind tonight at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Senior night for some seniors. Maybe somebody else's last game at Carver Hawkeye. Just give me the storylines around tonight.
The biggest storyline is Michigan State is going to be playing for an outright Big Ten title. That's the story for tonight. Is that Tom Izzo's team has just, I think, kind of, I wouldn't say come out of nowhere, but because it's an Izzo team, but they have really played well, particularly the second half of the year, and just, terrific, just well done by Tom Izzo, because I don't think anybody expected them to be in this position, and here they are, and they're going to win a Big Ten title and potentially outright if they win tonight at Carver Hawkeye. So I think that's the story. And then from the Iowa perspective, can they pull a surprise in the final home game? I don't know. It just seems like, I was up there on Friday night in Evanston, and I saw Peyton Sandfort go off the floor in tears. And I think that was one of those moments where the realization kind of really, really sets in that, boy, this team might be done this week, and there might be no postseason for Iowa basketball because they won't qualify for the Big Ten tournament. And the door is still open for them. If they win, I have to check my math again on the basketball nothing site or whatever, the MRED site. But yesterday when I plugged in kind of the results that had happened that thus far, along with if Iowa won both their games this week, they could jump in and be an 11 seed in the Big Ten tournament.
Really?
It's wild. That's because everybody is just bunched together.
Yeah.
So, just a couple wins just vaults you up over everybody else. I don't know if that's still the case, but that's what it was the other night. And then, but what it's really going to come down to, because Ohio State won, is it's Nebraska versus Iowa for a spot in the Big Ten tournament on Sunday at Pinnacle Bank Arena in Lincoln, Nebraska. And that place has been really tough for Iowa to win over the years. I've seen some bad Nebraska teams beat good Iowa teams, and in that place. So, even if Iowa wins tonight, they still got to beat Nebraska to get in. It's the way the tiebreakers are going to work.
Wow. So Iowa does. They basically, this one doesn't mean much. Obviously, it'd be nice to win and all that stuff, but
it would be nice. It would be nice because you can play up to an 11 seed.
Yeah, and it's senior night at Carver Hawkeye Arena, and I get all that. And then I want to talk to you about Peyton, because you were in Iowa City. I'm going back to, was it Tuesday, Monday, whatever day that? Yeah, it was Tuesday where they had their press conference, and Peyton Sanford talked. Kind of talk to us about what you heard from Peyton, and I know you got the utmost respect for that young man, and he's worn the Iowa uniform with such pride, and to kind of hear some of the things he said, and he's been through a lot. So just your thoughts on Peyton getting ready for his last game at Carver Hawkeye Arena, and kind of the things that he's kind of had to go through this year and in his career as well.
Yeah, I don't think people realize what he's played through this year, and what Josh Dix played through as well, from a physical standpoint. I mean, I'll go back to both those guys had significant wrist injuries in that Washington State game in Moline. Basically it's technically like a broken wrist kind of thing on their shooting hands. It's just, it's not much fun to play through that. And it wasn't like broken, but it was broken, if it makes sense. It wasn't like they had to put a cast on it, but it was injured to a degree where small break in there. And Peyton was also dealing with the shoulder thing from back at the NBA Combine that he hurt late in one of those 5-on-5 games. So he's dealt with a lot injury-wise, and trying to play through things and trying to not miss any time and lead the team. And his goal was to lead this team to through the Big Ten tournament, win that, make it to the NCAA tournament, win a couple games, make it to that second weekend. I mean, that was his dream. That was what he wanted to do as a leader of this Iowa basketball team. And, I think he sees that slipping away. He saw that the other night, I think it all hit him. And, he was, like I said, he was in tears coming off the court at Walsh Ryan Arena. And, it's tough to see, because that kid, say what you will about him. I know people get annoyed sometimes about him being a gunner and taking too many shots or bad shots or whatever. He's just trying to win and, doing the best he can. So, he's just a terrific young guy and a good player.
It's one of those things that he would trade any 20-point performance for a victory.
Absolutely.
Every single day. So really one of those good guys, if you get to know him and you get to meet him and you get to interview him, all those kind of things as well. Tom Kakert from the Hawkeye Report joining us right now. Fran McCaffrey was asked about his future. It's funny because so often the Iowa beat, not so often, but there's times that you guys get challenged for not being tough and all that kind of stuff, or asking the big questions. Fran was asked about his future. Yeah. Kind of talk to us about what he said and the vibe you got from Fran McCaffrey on Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, it was in the context of I guess somebody at the Michigan State press conference asked Tom Izzo about Fran McCaffrey potentially retiring. I think was the context of the question, based on the answer that Izzo gave. And basically said, I just can't see Fran hanging it up on this type of year. Should remind everybody, Fran's 64, 65 years old now. So he's getting up there. But Fran was asked about, the rumors and, retiring or whatever. And he bluntly said, no plans to move on. So if there's going to be a change, he moved his chess piece, and now it's up to Beth Gets to see if she moves her chess piece and calls game on him. We'll see. I don't. Beth is not going to announce anything until after the season, so we will wait and see what she has to say at that point. But I think I mentioned before the game at Champaign when I was down there covering the game, and she was at that game, and she doesn't normally travel with the team, so but she'll do that. Once or twice a year, she'll go on the road with men's and women's teams and just observe. Sometimes it's with bigger cities. You're also mixing in some donor meetings. If they're, going to Rutgers or going to Evanston, you might have some donors coming to a game. You're not having donors come to Champaign. There's no Iowa donors in Champaign. So she was going there on a fact-finding mission, I think, more than anything else, just observing, seeing what's going on with the team.
Do you have an opinion? I don't want to say opinion. Opinions about it. Do you have a thought process on how this plays out? Or is it one of those things, wait and see? You're not, tell me what, and it's going to happen quick. Like, that's the thing I don't think people realize is we've been talking about it for so long. It could happen as soon as Monday. Something. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they're going to get out in front of it. So your thought process, and then give me a timeline as well, because I don't think they wait too long to figure things out.
No, they wouldn't. I would suspect that something would probably have to happen by Monday, maybe Tuesday if there's some negotiation going on or some thought process. I don't know that. I think Fran's got an agent, so I'm sure that's communicated through them. But I'm sure if she was doing anything to move on, that she would do that directly with Fran and let him know what was happening. You had Scott Docterman on the other day. Scott's the one that was sitting outside the men's basketball office in March of 2010 when Gary Barta walked into fire Todd Licklider. So that was strange. I'm not sure I'd do that with Fran.
Yeah.
Not sure I'd camp out. I wouldn't do that.
No.
Probably not a good idea.
No.
So
do you still see 2 lanes or 3 lanes? Do you still see 3 lanes?
Yeah.
Are all 3 lanes clear on the highway?
There's a possibility that Beth says, "Hey, we're going to stay the course," and Fran's got a contract, and we're going to keep. It's just been a rough year, and he's got a good recruiting class coming in, got good players returning, so stay the course and keep moving on. Or it says, you know what, your defense just consistently bad, go hire the best defensive coordinator you can find and a defensive coach and overhaul that, and you can keep your job for one more year. Or it's just you say, you know what, we've seen enough, 15 years, dwindling attendance. To me, it's, the answer to your questions are always money related than anything else, than record. It's always comes back to money. And but the $64,000 question is, will there be basketball fans that come back if you make a change for the men's side? Or is it just one of those things where people just don't have room for multiple sports at that same time with, men's basketball, and a lot of fans have just decided to go to women's games, and they've enjoyed those, and it's still selling out. So maybe they want to just do that instead, and be more of a casual for the men's team, because it is hard to keep going to all those games. There's a cost associated with that too. And the men's tickets are more expensive. So it's just, it's a challenging time for them to try to market and sell the program. If they start winning, people will come back. But will they stay? That's the question. I don't know the answer to that one, though.
You know what, Tom? I've had a lot of people ask me, so I'll ask you because they ask me like I know something, and Tom's a little bit smarter in this subject than I am.
Really.
In this subject than I am. Other subjects I nail them on, but there's a thought process that if Fran goes away, money will start coming back into the program. NIL money, those kind of things. And in my opinion, yes, probably, but I think people have this notion that money's going to just come flooding in. Is it that simple?
It's not the reality. If Fran moves on, the new coach is going to have to build relationships with those donors and try to get them to support the program at a better level. Here's the thing with Beth Getz, and again, I'm going to stress the if because we don't know, but even if you don't make a change, even if you retain Fran, Iowa's NIL needs enhancement, and I think Beth thinks that the house money, which I think is going to be about 2.5 to men's basketball, 2.5 million, in addition to the 1.5 that the Swarm has given, is going to be enough. I am here to tell you it's not, because every other school in the Big Ten is going to have that 2.5 or more going in, based off that 20.5 million that they're going to get from the House settlement monies that's going to be distributed, and 14.5 is probably going to go to football, and 2.5 to men's basketball, and some of the other sports, let them eat cake. It's just, you don't know what they're going to get. Pennies maybe, but they'll get something. We'll see. But you've got to have more than 1.5. If they make a change, a coach, I'll tell you this, there are a lot of coaches who are out there that might be interested in a job like Iowa, but the first question they're going to ask is, what's your NIL situation? It's not even going to be what kind of salary can you get me, because all the salaries are pretty much going to be what they are. It's, hey, I'm going to have to remake my roster, because here's the other thing. If Fran leaves, guess what? Probably most of the roster, not all of it, but most of it will probably go in the portal. And you might retain some of those guys. Some of the other guys might move on. But you've got to have a war chest. And I would hope that Beth Getz is open to that realization that they're going to have more than 1.5 on extra money to get up to 4. It's going to have to be more like 6 or 7 that you're going to have to be on the table for a coach to feel comfortable, because they're going to have to go out and shop for a new team. They just are.
Yeah.
That's just the reality.
No, I agree with all that. A couple more for Tom Kakert before we let you go. Tom, these guys and these players, I think when you talk about Iowa men's basketball right now, the games, people don't even talk about the games because they're so fascinated or so fixated, is probably a better question or word to use, at what's going on after the season and all those kind of things. And these guys, and we've talked about it. We've talked about Chad Leistico. We've talked about it with Jim Madsen, who saw the other side of it against Illinois. You've mentioned this. Iowa just keeps playing hard. Ken Prince mentions they keep playing hard. Talk about this team, because you've seen it, and we know a lot of them, but they've been through a lot off the court, and they're dealing with a bunch of drama and all that kind of stuff. But most games, all games, no, it's not always pretty, and they don't always win, but they come to play hard. It's just been a trying season for them as well, besides the injuries and the actual basketball, because of everything else that's going on, hasn't it?
Well, it's just, your leaders on the team will just keep coming. Talking about Peyton Sanford, he does not know the word quit. Brock Harding does not know the word quit. He's going to keep coming. We know that. That's just the way those guys are built. And when your leaders keep coming, Josh Dix, same way. Josh is beat up, but he's going to keep coming and keep playing hard and keep trying to give a max effort. So when your leaders do that, it brings everybody else along, that they're going to keep coming. It may not be enough, and it hasn't been for a good portion of this year. Just hasn't been enough. But they're going to keep playing hard. I think they're going to play hard the last two games. But boy, that Michigan State team's deep, talented. They're kicking people's tails right now. Just playing classic Tom Izzo ball. They figured things out. Richardson's really good. They're getting a lot of contributions. They're getting lucky. I mean, the Hollowell bomb from 60 the other day was just, that's a team that wins a title, a conference title when they do stuff like that happen. So Iowa's just going to keep coming. They're going to roll the dice, see what happens, but they got to find a win in Nebraska. If they do that, then we're going to Indianapolis and see where that takes us.
And you're going to the Eagle, and you're going to all the favorites. That's the thing, Tommy. You need a victory just so you can get some food. But you're going to be I think you're going to be busy regardless, because it might be one story. It might be heading to Indianapolis as well. I have to ask you about John Cena. We had our great friend Don Umland was here on Friday to preview Elimination Chamber. He was here on Monday to talk about it afterwards, but and we joked because it tied back to Iowa basketball.
What does he matter? He's an AEW fan. He should not be on talking about WWE.
I know it. But tying it back to Iowa, we both received text messages from our tribal chief on Saturday night when it happened. So I knew something big was going down when Owen was texting me on a Saturday night about, and it was just like, what? So your reaction, because you watched it live, the John Cena heel turn, what were your thoughts?
Well, I was texting with the tribal chief, and I saw Cena in the background, and I texted him, watch John Cena. And because he was just being a cartoon character, I was like, there's a reason he was still in the ring.
Yes.
I was like, my spidey sense was going off. And then, I saw him do that cartoonish laugh when Cody told him to go do something to himself. And then he kicked him in the nether region. I was like, here it is.
Yeah.
It's what we've all wanted.
Yep.
The John Cena heel turn.
Yep.
Will he it's yeah.
Does he win at WrestleMania?
It's amazing. I love it.
Does he win at WrestleMania?
That is a great question.
That's why I'm here.
You know what I think? Here's my thought. There's a guy that currently lives in Nevada. He was a big foe of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I don't like to travel much, but he could probably get in one of his pickups and drive down the road to Las Vegas, and he might come out and throw up a couple double birds and be in Cody Rhodes' corner.
And
well, Dwayne's in John Cena's corner.
Oh, man.
So how about Stone Cold?
Oh, I did.
Glass breaks.
Oh, I did read
an
article.
Breaks.
I did read an article or saw an interview with him recently that said that he's close. It's a drive he could make and all that kind of stuff. He wasn't available last year in Philadelphia, but Vegas, as you mentioned, I think he said is a drive away for him. So I had to ask you. I had to start with the Bears. I had to finish with a little bit of wrestling. Tom, I can't let you go. We had Pat on yesterday because it was my dad's birthday and we announced the golf outing. Can I get your commitment to the Guy Randazzo Memorial Golf Outing with your Hawkeye Report team, Kyle, and all those studs that you bring along?
I would think we'll be back for another year. I think we'll be back. Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to play this year, though. We'll see.
You'll play. Why wouldn't you play?
We'll see. We'll see.
Are you pulling an anger on me? This is what he normally does.
No.
I think you're busy that weekend.
No.
So also,
I might be busy that week.
But you would encourage people to sign up.
Absolutely, it's a good time.
Yes,
it's a great time. We have a ball every year. I'll still get my team.
I just want a Tom Kakert endorsement. But that's what people come out and see you. They want to see Tom Kakert.
No, they don't. They don't come out to see me.
They might want to punch you. They might want to punch you, but they want to see Tom Kakert. And then last but not least, it is March 6th today. Boy, March 7th, for some reason, in my head, rings a bell or somebody. With somebody. Oh, that's right.
Day.
Tom Kakert's birthday is Friday. You turn 47? Is that what it is? 48.
Or 48.
48. Tommy, happy birthday. Anybody that watches this, that sees Tommy on social media, wish him an early birthday today. Wish him as well. You'll be busy, though, tonight in Iowa City. Let people know how they can check out all your stuff if they don't know already.
Yeah, go to HawkeyeReport.com. You can get the first week. Just sign up as a subscriber, and the first week is just $1, and you can cancel. So jump
you
on board.
Want to. You won't cancel. You'll keep going.
We got so much stuff. I mean, we've got men's and my guy Tanner Lefevre is a PV kid, PV star, and he's killing it with our wrestling coverage. He's got men's and women's wrestling covered. The women are going for a national title, a second straight year at Extreme Arena in Coralville this Friday and Saturday. Men are going to be up in Evanston, uphill battle against the monstrosity that is Penn State, and they're going to be going at it on Saturday and Sunday. And Tanner's going to be in Coralville for the women's stuff. So we've got that. Kyle's got the women's stuff. Kyle's got baseball. I got men's basketball. I'll be out in Lincoln. Going to wrap up the season. I've been on the road a lot with this team lately, so you just got to be there. So that's what I'm doing.
Getting to the finish line. You can follow him at Hawkeye Report on X as well. Tommy, thank you for doing this. And one of these weeks, real soon, we got to get you back in the. We got a great new sponsor, Godfathers. They want to send pizza. So I told Anger that one day we'll have you over. We'll have Pat over. We'll have a big old fun party here at the house and have some pizza as well. So
Andy's awesome. Love Andy. Andy's an awesome guy.
Yep,
Terrific
Andy Furman is one of the best of the best. So, and he just eats up that wrestling stuff, Tommy. The college wrestling stuff, not the WWE stuff, but Tanner and him would be great together because he loves the wrestling as well. So, all right, Tommy, enjoy your night in Iowa City, and we'll talk to you real soon. And by the way, happy birthday, old man.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, he is Tom Kakert. We got a lot more to get to. You're watching a Thursday edition of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We'll be right back. When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air on a Thursday here in the Quad Cities. I had to actually look down. Thursday, March 6th. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's been a lot of fun so far today. Growing up and doing what I got to do for 25 years in this area, I got to work with a lot of fun people. A lot of them I used to work for, and then eventually when I was the director, I got to work with a lot of great people. Of course, Corey for so many years, but I mean, there's a long list of Steve Campbell's and Camille Gears and a lot of them, including this young lady. And I want to welcome back a familiar face to some people here in the Quad Cities, a very familiar face to me, the one and only Celia Palermo joining us on Off the Air. Hey, Celia, I got my own streaming show. Isn't this weird?
This is dangerous, and I can't believe this is allowed on the internet. It feels like this should be blocked, and I just can't believe that there's a market for this and you have viewers.
Yes, and now I'm going to have a lot of viewers because you are joining us today. You're now in beautiful Florida. Kind of tell everyone that remembers Celia from her WQAD days, what's she doing now, and where your awesome career has taken you.
Yeah, I am in Ponte Vedra, Florida now, working for the PGA Tour. I am a senior producer and a host, so I work on some of our documentaries that you see on CBS and NBC leading into weekend golf coverage. I also host our show, PGA Tour The Cut, that airs on Golf Channel, and I just have the opportunity to work on some pretty incredible things. I just got back from a shoot that had 16 cameras involved. I never would have thought that I'd work on something like that, but it's been a blast. We just opened our brand new PGA Tour Studios building last fall, so we're getting settled in there. I mean, it is immaculate. There are so many studios for our PGA Tour Live team to operate out of. If you watch PGA Tour Live on ESPN Plus, that is where we're creating that magic, and it's incredible. I just feel so fortunate to, be working on a team that is continually innovating and creating some pretty incredible stuff.
Yeah, and that answer alone makes everybody realize that's watching this, the student has surpassed the teacher, and rightfully so. Celia, when you came to the Quad Cities, we knew from the jump that golf was your thing. And I remember we had our assistant news director now, but our old chief photographer, Andy McKay. We got done, and usually when we bring somebody in and they're doing their first John Deere Classic, we get their feet wet. We don't throw them to the wolves right away. And I remember you were fronting a story, and we're like, let's put her on set because we had this new beautiful set, and like let her introduce it there. And it was just, it clicked. You did a fantastic job. We told you did great. I walked back to the trailer, and I opened up the door, and Andy looked at me and said, she's got to be on set every night. And I said, you took the words right out of my mouth. You got it from the start with golf, with everything, but with golf. Where did you get the love for golf, the passion for golf, and now where you're at with the PGA Tour? Where did that all start?
It's hard for me. Yeah, I get asked this a lot, but it's hard for me to pinpoint like a specific moment where I was like, yep, it's golf or nothing. But my job before the Quad Cities, I was a sports reporter in Augusta, Georgia, and you cannot be a sports reporter in Augusta, Georgia and not love and know golf like the back of your hand. And so I had the wonderful opportunity to cover 2 Masters tournaments while I was there, 2018 and 2019. 2019 happened to be a pretty big one with Tiger Woods winning. But Augusta just had such a robust golf scene that I just loved covering it. A lot of PGA Tour players call that area home. And so there were some wonderful junior events that they put on that I would get to cover. We covered the Arnold Palmer Invitational as well. You know, back at the University of Georgia where I went to school, I actually, for one of my senior projects, was assigned to cover the Georgia golf team. So maybe some of it started there, but you know, I think back on it and I learned this recently, but I didn't know this up until this year. My grandpa was a volunteer at the US Open in 2000 at Pebble Beach, where Tiger Woods won by 15 shots. It's the 25th anniversary of that season. Unfortunately, my grandfather passed in 2013, so I never got to talk to him about that or ask him about that. But maybe my love for golf was always written in the stars and it was just a matter of time. But, you know, living in Augusta certainly set things off.
He'd be so proud today for sure. It was in the genes, Celia. That's definitely for sure. So we're going to talk a lot of golf with you in a second. But, boy, we had some fun in the Quad Cities and WQAD. And you had to put up with Corey and myself and all those kind of things, and I'm sure we drove you crazy sometimes, but I'm sure we had a lot of fun too. What is it about the Quad Cities? I know it was a short period of time when you look at the big picture of things, but what is it about the Quad Cities that maybe you miss, and not Corey and myself, but just, you know, the area, the Quad Cities itself?
No, well, first of all, I do miss both of you. I miss the community. I just miss everything. I lived in a great apartment in downtown Davenport. It was some of the most fun years of my life. I met one of my closest friends, Darby Sparks, who was a reporter at KWQC. She's now in Salt Lake City as an investigative reporter. But I just had so much fun there, whether it was working with you two, which we genuinely had fun on the job. And it was not a job. It was a passion for all of us. And so, especially in COVID times when, you know, work kind of bled into your home life. And so we were always thinking of features and different things, you know, it was all the time. But I just think of some of the most positive memories and things like that. And of all the places that I've lived, and I've moved around a lot, the Quad Cities is at the top of the list of some of my favorite places that I've had the opportunity to live. Yeah, we did have, and it was weird because it was COVID. There was one time during COVID that I'll tell the viewers about that, you know, we were making a system change to new computers and editing system and all that. Big words that I still don't know today. Heck, there's sometimes I'd forget to push record if I wasn't a little bit smarter. And I refused to do it. Celia remembers this. I was like, no, we're at home. You're making me work from home. Why are we making this big switch now? And so like I woke up on a Monday morning and I'm pretty sure you were probably off that. Were you off that day or were you working? I can't remember, but I think I was off that day. Yeah. Yep. And I called her in a panic. That's why I came over. Yeah. I called her in a panic and I'm like, I have no other choice. They've taken everything away. I have to use this editing stuff. And you're like, well, have you even looked at it? I'm like, Celia, I got nothing. I know. So literally she came over to my house. She worked on you were working on a feature story. Anyways. I worked on some,
Yeah, and helped me and babysat me because I needed to be babysat. I think I taught you how to sports gamble a little bit because the bubble was going on with the NBA, but it was just a strange time. But I think it made coworkers better friends because they had to be, they were in this together. And I definitely think that was the case with what we had at WQED in our sports department.
Yeah, I mean, there were 3 of us, right? And so we were a unit and we were shooting things at home, shooting our sports blocks at home, and then somehow going to the games that were happening mostly on the Iowa side of the river. And it was just a weird time, but it was fun.
No, it was a blast. And that's the thing too, is because we had to figure out a way to keep 3 sports people that time, because a lot of other stations were taking, and moving to news because sports this was canceled, that was canceled. I think you were the one who championed and pioneered the home workout athlete. I can't remember what we called it, but every single day, people put on social media your workout, because people were doing, gosh, what did we have? We had people pulling tractors and a bunch of crazy stuff.
Weird things, like all athletes from different teams and programs all over the Quad Cities were doing unique things to like stay in game ready shape so that when sports returned, they'd be ready to go like that. And so you'd have people like flipping hay bales instead of like flipping tires that they'd have in a gym. I remember like Colton Quagliano had like the most elaborate workout and we went and filmed with him and stuff like that. But we did like an all call and it became like a segment every week. We'd find the best Twitter clip of a unique workout. Gosh, that's a blast from the past. I'm glad you brought that up.
No, it was a good dynamic. We had a great dynamic and all those good things. You got to cover a lot of events besides the John Deere Classic. We're going to talk about the John Deere Classic in a second and then more golf, but do you remember an event, and I know COVID made things weird, but do you remember an event that you covered in the Quad Cities besides the JDC that you're like, I'm always going to remember that? That was one of my favorite events. That was my favorite moment, all those kind of things. Do you remember anything on those terms?
You cut out there a little bit, but I think there's 2. First of all, I really love how the state shows up for women's sports. And so I loved covering the girls' state basketball tournament in Des Moines, the North Scott girls winning the state championship. That was really cool. Just seeing the stands packed to the brim, all for those young ladies was awesome. But I think it was one of the last things that I covered at WQED was Iowa Penn State, when the fans stormed the field when Iowa beat Penn State. That was pretty sick.
Do you remember, was that the game that we did our entire sportscast from Kinnick Stadium and we taped everything?
It had to be.
Yes. We were pulling Illinois highlights and everything else. And boy, it was crazy, crazy days back then. John Deere Classic for you, because when you came here, we knew you loved golf and you hit the ground running. What's your favorite John Deere Classic moment while you were here? And I believe while you were here, we lost one. I believe you were here during the year that we didn't have a JDC. So you were part of the announcement or the breaking news that there was no JDC. But talk to me about the John Deere Classic, your favorite moments. What do you love about that event?
Gosh, there's so many. What I love about the John Deere Classic is that it truly is a community-centered event, because it is in a smaller community. You really get the sense that people from the area are coming out and everybody is turning out for the event that weekend and that week. And I think what sticks out to me as a memory, Matt, is, you talk about when I would come on set for the 19th hole that first year, but I don't know if you remember, you and Corey kind of threw me into the fire right away. Michael Kim was the defending champion my first year, and one of the first assignments you guys gave me was to go find him on the range and get an interview with him. And here I am, this like rookie, and you're like, oh, just go find the defending champion and just get an interview with him about being back in the Quad Cities to defend his title. No big deal. And I'm like, okay, sure. I did. And it was fine. And Michael Kim's a great guy. He's a great follow on Twitter. You should follow him. He's playing really well right now, actually. So yeah, but I remember that. I remember thinking, if I don't get this, that's probably not great. But
see, we
yeah.
knew
There's a lot. I could go on.
Yeah, we knew you could do it. We knew that's why we did that. And it's a tournament that you've come back to. You've been back, I think, each of the last 2 years to help us out. I know last year, I'm trying to think, I think it was last 2 years.
Yeah.
So
I love,
what is it about this place and this
taking
tournament?
some PPL and coming in with you guys.
Yes, you're
I
crazy.
don't know. It's just, one of the things that we did is, I mean, you guys assigned so many different, shooters to go on different holes. And it was great just to come back and spend time with, coworkers and to be able to help as much as I could and to log highlights and to carry somebody's tripod and just to be with you guys. I think it's just, again, it goes back to that family environment that the John Deere Classic provides. And, it always has been a great launch pad for future stars. I mean, Luke Clanton played on a sponsor exemption last year, and he just earned his PGA Tour card this last week at the Cognizant Classic via the PGA Tour U Accelerator program. I mean, think about the impact that he had at the John Deere Classic. He was one of the guys to watch there. Everybody knew, right there, that he was going to be a star. Less than a year later, he has his PGA Tour card when he graduates college. That's pretty remarkable. And the John Deere Classic has a pivotal part of his story.
We talk about that with Andrew Lehman all the time, but you're in the PGA Tour. You're more national, obviously. What do players and, the outsiders, if that makes any sense, looking in at the Quad Cities, think of what we do here in the Quad Cities with the John Deere Classic?
I think it is similar to what I just mentioned. They see it as a great opportunity for those young up-and-comers to really, you think about a guy like Davis Thompson, who for years we have known has really special talent, but being able to finally get over the hump and earn a win will certainly accelerate his career. And it's just been such a launch pad for future stars. It's the 10th anniversary of Jordan Spieth's win in 2015. And you think about the incredible career that he's gone on to have. The John Deere Classic being a part of so many incredible players' stories, I think, is overlooked. And it should be something that the Quad Cities is proud of. It should be something that a lot of people recognize. It should be something that the PGA Tour is proud of. It is something that the PGA Tour is proud of. And John Deere is a wonderful partner of the PGA Tour and has been for many years. And there's a reason that this event continues for years and years and years. And it's because it is extremely well run. It provides an incredible opportunity for players of all aspects of their career. And it has become, just a signature aspect of so many players' careers.
Celia Palermo joining us right now, former co-worker of mine, if you guys don't remember. And it's a great segue moving into what I was going to ask you next, because you see the young players all the time. You know what's next. You know who may be next. Are there anybody that you maybe put a check by? And I don't want to say it's that's a John Deere Classic guy, but that's a young person a young player that could take an advantage of the John Deere Classic this year. Any good stories out there, or some names we should keep our eyes on as we get ready? John Deere Classic, I know the Masters is 5 weeks away. John Deere Classic is going to be here before you know it.
Yeah, certainly. Obviously Luke Clanton, definitely keep tabs on him once he accepts his PGA Tour membership. But get to know the name Aldrich Potgieter. That's an interesting name. You can't forget that name. He's a young South African rising star. He graduated from the Korn Ferry Tour last season, 20 years old, I believe. But he's played in just 4 PGA Tour events this season since earning his card. And twice now already, he's been in the final pairing on Sunday. And if you're a diehard golf fan, you may remember him that he was in a playoff 2 weeks or so ago in the Mexico Open with Brian Campbell. And then he was in the final pairing with Harris English at the Farmers Insurance Open. So he finished runner-up in Mexico, but he leads the tour in driving distance. So this kid can hit it a mile. He has a ton of confidence. He has this calmness of spirit, and he is going to be a future fixture on President's Cup's teams. He's a guy that Trevor Immelman loves. His potential is through the roof. So he's someone that all golf fans are getting behind. And, you know, when he does win, it's not an if he wins, it's when he wins. It will not be a one and done. He will rack up multiple wins throughout his career. He has a ton of talent.
Say the name again, Potgieter.
Aldrich Potgieter.
All right. Remember that when we see that name in the John Deere Classic field, make sure you keep a close eye on that. We mentioned the Masters. It's 5 weeks away, which is crazy. And it's one of my favorite times of the year. Absolutely love Masters Week. I love it for a couple things. One, the golf is awesome. And two, the spoofs that, what is it, Chris Vernon does?
And that's what's going on at Augusta.
Thank you. I didn't want to do it.
Show.
Yes, I didn't want to do it, but it sounds better when you actually do it. I look like an idiot. But those spoofs, those parodies are awesome. So it's twofold. But we are 5 weeks away. I know it's early. There's golf to be played. But what are some of the early storylines when it comes to this year's Masters that we can kind of look forward to?
Yeah, you know, there's some historic storylines to look forward to. There's also some storylines to think about in terms of present day. Like, definitely take note of the fact that it is Bernhard Langer's final Masters. Last year, he was planning for it to be his final Masters, but then he injured his Achilles. He rehabbed it very quickly. He actually consulted Aaron Rodgers in terms of how he could rehab his injury quicker. You think about a guy his age playing on the PGA Tour Champions, consulting a guy like him for how to come back quicker. And he did. So he's playing in his last Masters. It's the 40th anniversary of Bernhard's first Masters win. So it's a good way to go out. But Scottie Scheffler is looking for his third green jacket since 2022, playing the best golf out of anyone on the planet right now. But Rory McIlroy, you always have to look at him as someone who is going to have his eyes on that green jacket. He had the close call at the U.S. Open. He got an early win this season at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, a signature win. Nobody wants to complete the career Grand Slam quicker than Rory McIlroy does. It feels like it's been riding on his shoulders for a long time now. He would like to get that one done. And the last one that I'm looking at right now is Colin Morikawa. Not only do I think he needs to win this season because he didn't last year, he finished second in the FedEx Cup thanks to 4 rounds in the 60s at the Tour Championship last year. But he has played well at Augusta. He finished tied for third last year, T10 in 2023, and fifth in 2022. So he has some good juju at Augusta. And if there's any place to get that win, hey, a green jacket isn't a bad place to do it, and he's a proven major champion.
How many Masters have you covered?
This will be my 5th.
Is there anything like it?
And that feels crazy to say.
Is there anything like it? Is there anything like Augusta? I've had people go. I've had friends go. They talk about the food you got to eat and all that kind of stuff. Is there anything better than, I know you love the John Deere Classic, but let's be honest. Augusta's it, right? It's the mecca of golf.
It is, and there's just places on the golf course that I've been fortunate to go as someone working there, that you just feel like you're in a cathedral. They moved the 13th tee box back, and fans can't get access to the 13th tee box. And so when filming footage of players teeing off on 13, there's a way for camera crews to get there. And so it's literally just you and the players in this corner. And it's pretty silent, but for the roars on, say, 16 or other holes, you can see the rest of Amen Corner, of course, but it just feels intimate. and you just feel like you're on this sacred ground. You feel like that all over the place. And there's just something in the air, the way the dew comes off the grass, the way the sun shines through the Georgia pines. I mean, maybe it's because I've lived there. Maybe it's because I've had the opportunity to cover it, but something changes that week when you step inside Augusta National.
Man,
it's a special place.
That's like a promo for Augusta. They don't need to cut a promo or anything. They just gotta. I will sell that to them because I'm unemployed. I'm an old guy doing a podcast in my loft, so I will sell that to them and they'll be good to go. Celia Palermo joining us right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. When you look at currently, it's the Arnold Palmer Invitational this weekend. Going into that, what's that field look like? And I think, and you know this, there's the diehard golf fan that watches and knows every week, and then there's the golf fan that knows maybe Masters on and kind of keeps tabs. Right. They keep tabs. Like I keep tabs right now of I know it was the Arnold Palmer this week, and then there's some that are just going to watch the majors. So for those people that don't keep tabs, talk about the field for the Arnold Palmer. Talk about a favorite, maybe your thoughts on this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. The Arnold Palmer Invitational played at Bay Hill Club and Lodge, Arnie's Place. Very difficult golf course. It is a good golf course for these players to look in the mirror and say, all right, where is my game at ahead of the major championship season, right? And so, especially, going into next week at the Players Championship, there's a lot on the line these next couple of weeks. Obviously the picture of the seasons have changed with the introduction of signature events and things like that. The feelings changed, but nonetheless, we're gearing up for the first major of the season. Looking at the field, I like Shane Lowry. He has a weird past at Bay Hill. He has missed the cut 4 times and then finished 67th. And then last year he finished 3rd and played with Scottie Scheffler in the final pairing. So something switched. He won with Rory McIlroy later in the season at the Zurich Classic in New Orleans. His game feels better than it has in a while, he says. Something changed last year, and I think it did a lot for his confidence. Shane Lowry I interviewed him at the Tour Championship this last year, and you watch these guys play and they seem like they have a ton of confidence, right? But then you put them in the chair and you sit across from them and you can get a totally different vibe. And Shane is very confident. He's obviously an incredible player, but he is just very honest. He's very candid. He's very humble. And he's also very self-deprecating and hard on himself. But I think finishing in 3rd last year at a place that he has some scar tissue at did a lot for him. And he probably goes into this week with a lot of confidence, knowing that he got that off his back and comes in feeling better than ever.
All right. So all you golf gamblers out there, Celia just said, go check out Shane Lowry to win this year. I was actually scurrying on my phone to see if I could find what the odds were to do that, but I don't want to do that to you. Before we let you go, I have a rapid fire little segment. Are you ready? You want to do this?
Oh no.
I didn't tell you
Let's
about
do
this. I kind of made some of them up as we went. So let's start with the John Deere Classic. What's your John Deere Classic Mount Rushmore?
Michael Kim.
No.
Steve Stricker. Jordan Spieth.
Stop. Did you start with Michael Kim?
Yes, I did. Hey, all-time scoring record.
Scott Weiss just turned off my podcast. Okay, but you started with him. You started with him.
I started with him because I love him. I think he's a great guy. And
all right.
His game is trending. Hey, he could come back to the John Deere Classic this year and win again. Would that change your vibe?
All right. I like it.
Right,
so Michael Kim, he wouldn't be on mine, but go on.
Steve Stricker, Michael Kim, Jordan Spieth, Zach Johnson.
Yeah, that's 4.
Brian Harmon.
No, but you had 4. Kim,
4?
Strick. Yeah, you just need
You want
4
me to
from Mount
switch?
Rushmore.
Okay, my runners up are Brian Harmon and like Ryan Moore.
Well, you'd have to have like DA Weibring. I almost said DA points.
Yeah, sure.
Plus DA points, but you'd have to have DA Weibring and all those people for designing the course and winning and all that. But yeah, no, I think of recently. Boy, Michael Kim. She jubilantly yelled Michael Kim with her finger in the air. God bless you.
Okay, I have one quote that I have to tell you about before we move on from this.
Yeah.
I'm working on a Tiger Woods related show right now. And so I purchased all of these old newspapers from some of his earlier seasons. And when talking about the 2000 US Open and he was talking about Matt Gogol, who had the lead going into the final round and then didn't win. He said he understands that feeling. Why? Because the only time he's gone into the final round and not won is the 1996 John Deere Classic.
Wow.
So I have that artifact literally right behind me in my room right now.
That's awesome.
I showed it to all my coworkers. I was like, look, John Deere Classic mentioned.
JDC representing.
I'm sorry. It was not the U.S. Open. It was the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am that they were talking about with Matt Gogol.
Wow.
He won at Pebble Beach twice that year.
I don't know if anybody would have called you out on that.
My
But
brain is mush. My brain is mush.
Yeah.
9:42 p.m. on the East Coast.
I will let it slide. Favorite Quad City food that you miss right now? If you came back to the Quad Cities and you were going to eat something that you can't get anywhere else, is there anything here that you think of and like, man, I miss this?
What do we always go get? Oh, Portillo's.
Okay. Yeah.
Portillo's.
Yeah.
Does that count? But
Well,
there's
does.
a Portillo's in Orlando now. So
Well, then it doesn't count. Like hobo? Were you a hobo girl? Were you a... No. Were you the one that tried taco pizza and like vehemently hated it?
I hated it.
Yes.
I was anti Casey's.
Yes. I remember that. Who did you make upset? Were you with Greg King that were arguing about gas station pizza? Was that you?
Gas station pizza, yes. He wanted me to stop at the Shell station on the way
Hillsdale.
to Sterling.
Hillsdale.
Yes.
It's delicious. I just got some a month ago.
One day.
When you come back this summer, we're going to go to Hillsdale and we're going to get you a piece of pizza. You're going to enjoy it. All right. How many Polar Pops have you had since leaving the Quad Cities?
None.
What?
I only get them with you and Scott Weiss.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. That's sentimental. I feel like you should enjoy it more than just
Diet
that.
Coke.
I know. We went to get our first Polar Pop with the little one right here, and she literally grabbed the smallest cup. I think Wheezy yelled, "That's a shot glass! What are you doing with a shot glass?" Like, I'm sure he didn't love the fact that you grabbed that. So, all right, a couple more. Claire Peterson or Andrew Lehman?
Claire Peterson. Duh.
Wow! You're not supposed to answer it that quickly.
I love Andrew, and I can give him a hard time, so that's why I said
All right, last one for
I
you.
love Claire.
Dazzo or Corey?
Oh, come on.
He doesn't watch. Don't worry about it. I don't think he's ever watched the show.
Here's my answer. Neither. Andy McKay.
That's like the ultimate mic drop. You should just turn off your computer and go be done with that. So, before we let you go as well, hopefully we see you around for the John Deere Classic again this year. How's the golf game? Your golf game.
On. I know, but like I work too much to ever go play golf.
You live in Florida and you work for the PGA Tour. There's no excuse why you're not golfing.
And I've traveled 3 times in the last 2.5 weeks. How am I supposed to play?
Weren't you getting good at it though?
Okay, define good.
That's true. Well, it's funny because when you didn't even play when you were here, you hadn't played. I don't think you had ever played.
No. And you made me hit a shot at the John Deere Classic when we were there in 2020 when it was announced that it was canceled.
And you were mad at me because of it, or did you hit it pretty decent?
And I topped it.
Yeah.
No, I topped it.
So that was kind of like bullying you into doing that, which I feel bad about.
And I felt like a fraud. I felt like a fraud when I got this job, so then I bought clubs and taught myself how to play golf.
Yeah. That's the worst thing I've ever done at the John Deere Classic, Celia, so I apologize on that. That's the worst thing, making you hit that shot.
I can think of worse things.
Hey, what happens in the trailer stays in the trailer, young lady. That's what they say. There's actually a sign up there. So, well, I've enjoyed the heck out of this. I don't know if us ranting and going on little avenues of fun side stories everyone understood, but this was a ton of fun for me. I'm going to keep you involved during the season in golf. I'm not going to call. I texted her the other day and I said, well, I'd love to get you on before the Masters. And she's like, I'm going to be at the Masters. I'm like, not during the Masters, but around the Masters. So
that's not how I meant it. That's not how I meant it.
You big timed me. No, that's okay. But we'll chat a lot during the golf season because you'll be my golf expert right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Can you believe I'm doing this nonsense? What's this world coming to?
But you're crushing it.
I love it. I love it. So,
I just can't believe they give you a mic and let you just talk.
Well, they don't. But people are starting to pay, which is great. But yeah, like they don't. I don't know if we're listening to it, but my wife allowed me to buy a microphone, I guess is the best way we can look at it. So no, but it's been a lot of fun. And you're another one of those people I've been talking to. And as I bring them on, I kind of let people know that, yeah, I had a funky August and September and October with figuring life out. And this young lady was in Florida every time I called her. Sometimes she had to like text me like, I'll call you soon, leave me alone, all those kind of things. But always there to support me, always there to encourage me. And I appreciate that. And you know, I got your back as well, young lady. I appreciate you doing this.
Yep. Just returning the favor for all the times you've supported me. Happy to do it, Matt.
And got you out of trouble too. Don't forget that. The times I bailed you out of jail.
Yes, sir.
Remember those?
We don't tell people about those.
Celia.
There's no proof.
I appreciate you doing this. We'll talk to you real soon. That is Celia Palermo. Boy, it's fun to catch up with her here in the Quad Cities. And of course, she hopefully we're back around the John Deere Classics to do some stuff up here as well, and we'll catch up with her then as well. We've got plenty more to get to. You're watching Off the Air on a Thursday right here in the Quad Cities. When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air on a Thursday here in the Quad Cities. Great time of year. March Madness in full swing, including on the high school level where it was another victorious night out at Sherrard High School. 30 of those evenings as the Tigers won their 30th game. We're joined now by the head coach of the Sherrard Tigers, Alex Johnson. 30-3. Number 30 might be the most thrilling of them all, Alex. First and foremost, thanks for joining us. You look a little tired this morning, as you should.
Yeah, a little tired, but it's a good tired. I mean, any time that you're still playing basketball this late in the season, that we tell the kids we rest at the end, and so one way or another, this is all coming to an end in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully for us, it's a few more days, but yeah, it's a good feeling to win. I'm really proud of our kids, really proud of our community, to be able to put on that type of performance that everyone could enjoy.
All right, if anyone hadn't heard, overtime game at Sherrard last night. I think you were down 6 with $1:30 to go or something like that. Great rally from your boys. And then Rylan Carton, who we had on the show this week, so I'm taking some credit for that, gets the game winner as time expires to advance to the sectional championship. What's it say about your guys? We'll talk about the buzzer beater in a second, but to get to overtime and then down 6 late, what's it say about your guys to keep battling?
Well, I mean, I think it says more about your show that, that's where all the magic happens. And so we just got to get more guys on your show more consistently, and, everything should take care of itself. But this is probably the closest group of boys that I've been able to coach. And the message to them when things were not going our way was to stay together. And they did. And we said a few weeks ago, whatever happens this season, we're going to do it together. And if things didn't go our way, the ball didn't bounce the way that we wanted, I mean, I think that everyone knows that we're doing our best and putting our heart out there. But I think being able to come back in that deficit with, just a minute 30, like you said, I think kind of just really shows what type of character they have, how much trust they have in each other. And really that's just kind of a byproduct of the season that we've been having this year.
Take me to the end of overtime then. Play design for Rylan. Obviously 45 last week at the regional final. He's been one of those guys all year long. Take me through that final play call and what was going on, and let your best player play. Is that one of those things, or take me through it?
Yeah, I mean, essentially it is. You want the ball in your best player's hands when it matters the most. And we had a lot of confidence in Rylan that he was going to make a great decision with basketball, whether he was going to take the shot or he's going to create for his teammates. And so there was a whole lot of X's and O's into it. We gave him the ball, got a little ball screen, tried to give him a favorable matchup, and then once we got the switch and he got his guy on skates, I had a pretty good feeling about it, and he just made an unbelievable basketball play and shot the ball with tremendous confidence, and just really excited for him because obviously a great player, but as you got to talk to him the other day, just a great person as well.
Can you talk about his growth over the last couple years? Because I had heard about him probably as a freshman, maybe sophomore probably, and a talented kid, but had work to do. And he's really grown, not just last year, but exploded here his senior season. Is it work? Is it physical? Is it mental? Take me through his maturation as a basketball player over these last couple of years at Sherrard.
Yeah, so when he came in the summer going into his sophomore year, his body wasn't quite mature yet and things like that. But then we started watching him practice and started watching him move and saw his skill set. And early on, me and Coach Marshall, my assistant coach, were like, well, that kid's going to be all conference at some point. And then as we kept watching him more in his sophomore year, didn't play a lot of varsity basketball, we started as a coaching staff thinking, man, if this kid keeps doing the things that he's doing, who knows what his limit is. And I don't think that the area, I mean, people at Sherrard know for sure. I don't know if the area they're probably getting to the party now know how good this kid is. And why he is that way is, what they say, the unseen hours. I mean, he was in about 4 o'clock yesterday, starting to get his shots up, working on that exact shot that he took last night. And that is an every single day thing with him. Coach Earl and him are close. They do a lot of skill work, do a lot of things in the gym. And Coach Earl describes him as manic in terms of how he approaches the game. And he loves basketball. I mean, obviously comes from a basketball family, has a great role model and his brother with that. And it is not just by his skill, his talents that he's got to this point, which are very good, but it is his work ethic that has really driven him.
No, I got to chat with him obviously the other day, and super, super good kid. Really charismatic, outgoing, all of those kind of things. I told him when we got done, Alex, I'm like, when I was 17, 18 years old, there's no way I could have hopped on a Zoom with a goofball in his loft and talked to him for 15, 20 minutes. He was impressive, and impressive obviously on the floor as well. You're in a Sherrard grad, and to be there and to step back and watch last night and watch that scene and maybe look around and look at the gym packed and what's going on at a place that's near and dear to your heart. Do you let it sink in? Do you sit back and look and say, wow, there's work to be done. I get that. But this was probably the goal, to bring basketball back to this level at Sherrard. And it was probably fun to watch these last couple weeks.
Yeah, we couldn't really write it up any better that, we get the sectional game, and which puts kind of a little bit of pressure on the players or maybe the coaching staff that, we have to have a good year. We have to win regionals, which are a tremendous task, to get to this game and see what it brings. And about 5, I think the doors were supposed to open up at 6, and I come out of the gym, it was about 5:58, and the gym was already starting to fill up. And then when I came back out about 6:30, I'd never seen anything like that at the Sherrard Harry Hunt Gymnasium. And people that are really close to me, that, it's Sherrard. So I go up to the post office, I know everyone up there. When I go to the gas station, I know everyone in there. And people that I don't regularly see at the games, they're all there, and they're excited, and they're ready to cheer and help us to a victory. And so, that last shot, I kind of do a pretty good job of blocking everything out during the game. Really only hear my players, my coaches, the referees. But when that shot went in, it felt like just an eruption. And I could feel the place shaking. Obviously I was excited. I was very excited for our players as well. And obviously that's a truly special moment that I believe is going to be one of those generational moments that people talk about for about ever.
We saw and I could see on YouTube and the highlights on the local TV, the way that gym was. What was that locker room like? Obviously, those cameras didn't go in there, but those guys had to be thrilled when you guys got in the locker room, and just in your family and in your group, because you celebrate with everybody else, but you guys have been through so many unseen hours, as you mentioned. What was that locker room like last night?
It was great. It's one thing is, we're going to do some celebrating when the season's over. And we had a nice little moment. But before we even said anything, we just wrote on the board, let's go get Manual. And that's what we're going to do. I mean, that's a great one. We want to enjoy it. But the idea is we don't want to be a happy team. Because if we're a happy team going against Manual, everyone knows what's going to happen. So, but we've been in this spot before. And so if we can keep the right mindset and really focus in on what we're supposed to do for a really, really good basketball team, who knows what happens. And obviously we're going to have the huge six-man advantage, and hopefully that makes a difference on Friday.
Absolutely. I want to talk to you about Friday because, and I appreciate you doing this, because I'm sitting here thinking, well, they got to play on Friday.
Well, hell, Friday's tomorrow. I mean, it's a quick turn when it comes to you. Probably watching film. You should be doing working instead. You're talking to me. But talk about that quick turn, because you said it. You can't really celebrate too much because the page had to be turned probably last night as you look forward to a really good Manual team.
Yeah, I mean, it's just everyone knows Peoria Manual. They're one of the staple programs in Illinois high school history, and they're hungry this year. Obviously last year they got upset a little bit. It's a Macomb team that was really talented as well. So they're hungry, and we can't relax. And so yeah, like you're right. We started the scout. We started playing for practice before we left the gym last night. Started watching film on them. We've played them last year, so we have a pretty good idea what's coming. We've played some schools like them this year already. Maybe not to the extent of how talented they are, but the idea here is it's always about us, and that's what we tell the kids. We just got to stay within ourselves, and there's not going to be a silver bullet to beat Peoria Manual. There's not going to be a magic play or some great X's and O's. It's just going to have to be really high quality basketball for 32 minutes.
You mentioned that sixth man. It might be a 6 and a 7, the way that place will probably be packed on Friday night. And I think myself and one of my boys has other stuff to do, but my second oldest said, well, Dad, I'll go over there with you. I said, so we got to get over to Sherrard on Friday night. Sounds like I got to get there right after the show. I might wrap the show up at noon and come hang out in your office so I can get in time. But what will that place be like? Because, having that type of an advantage, you have the quick turn, which might be a little bit of a disadvantage, but to be at that gym, at that place, and how do you make sure it's not too much? How do you make sure you block some of that stuff out? Because you got a basketball game to play as well.
Yeah. Those are great questions. And I mean, the gym's going to be crazy. I mean, it's just, I get your tickets early. That's all I can say. Make sure you buy them online. I don't know how many they're going to be able to sell at the door. I mean, we were pretty much at max capacity last night. Emmanuel brought a really nice crowd on Tuesday night. So, yeah, we know that the community's behind us 100%, and they are going to be loud, and they are going to be proud, and it's going to be a great night for Sherrard basketball. In terms of our kids, they're some of the most level-headed kids that I know, probably more level-headed than their coach or the coaching staff. But the idea is, like we talked about, they really got to kind of keep it together. And we don't have school tomorrow, which will help us a little bit because we come in and have a little bit of run through in the morning, kind of talk about it, process some things. But, the big idea is kind of stay together, understand what the moment is. But once that ball goes up, it's just us. It's just 5-on-5. It's just the guys on the bench. It's just the coaching staff. And, we just got to go out there and play.
I think lost in the trip to the Sweet 16 is the fact that y'all have won 30 games. And that's how I kind of started my interview with you, because at the end of everything, regardless of how this thing turns out, you won 30 games, Alex. If I would have told you to start the season, you guys were going to break the school record, it would have been great. What number? I mean, you guys are blowing that school record out of the water. I know it's something you probably talk about later, but that number 30 sounds good. 31, 32, 33 would sound better, but 30 victories in a season? That's like East Moline Glass type of stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, this is a good team, but I don't know if they really compare to East Moline Glass.
Of course.
That team was, but yeah, never really imagined 30. Didn't give it a whole lot of thought. And like I talked about maybe with you and some other people is we don't really set goals as, hey, let's win 20, let's win 23, let's 24. It's let's see how far we can go. Yeah. And so you win 24, we set the school record with 24. Okay, now let's get to 25. We win regionals. Let's go ahead and try to get another game in sectionals. At some point, whether it's we win the state championship or we bow out a little bit early, we realize that our hourglass is going to come to an end. But the idea is let's just try to do what we can, make it as far as we can, enjoy it as we do it. And with that mindset, you don't limit yourself, because that is the real thing. Okay, we set school record. Then what? Is your season over then? You win a regional championship. Then what? Is your season over then? Yeah. And so we don't really put a lot of pressure on that stuff. It is every day, get in, get better. If you do that consistently, then good things are going to happen to you. And, this year we've caught a lot of breaks. Things have went our way, but that's also a byproduct of the hard work that the kids have been putting in.
A few more for Alex Johnson before he get him back to work. take me through the life of a coach right now. I don't think people realize it, because I joked with you, like, how much did you sleep? And I can't fathom anything. I call BS if you say you slept more than an hour or two. So take me through that. And I know, like, you mentioned whether you were good or bad in 2-3 weeks, this is over. But what is life as a coach like right now, especially? Because I think those unseen hours for the players aren't talked about, but for you coaches, you and your staff as well, I mean, you guys are living the life of rock stars sometime, in a good way and in a bad way.
Yeah, I mean, it can be demanding, the life of a coach, and obviously I got great assistants, and so that helps just tremendously. And I have to give credit to where it's doing. That's with my wife, and so there's no way I could do this without her. We have 7 beautiful children at home, and they don't make it to a lot of the games because she's just one woman, and chasing 5 or 6 kids, young kids in the bleachers, is just something that is not real feasible. But my oldest son does come to games frequently. But, I mean, for how much time I put in, sometimes I feel like I do cheat my family a little bit. But I do also realize I have a great mother that is there allowing me to do what I love, and hopefully that rubs off on my children. But as in terms of the day-to-day, I don't change too much about it. Sometimes I'm probably too focused on it, but we win that game last night. We started talking about what we want to do at practice. Get home, started uploading the film on Peoria Manual. Coaching staff's already working on the scouting report. Start watching film. A lot of times I watch our film right away to make sure that I know what I saw or I didn't see. But, even last night, with such a quick turnaround, we're not going to probably focus too much on that game, straight to manual. About 1 o'clock or so, finally got down, got some rest. Woke up this morning, started thinking about the game, had a quick meeting with some other coaches in the area at 6:30, which was big. And now I have to work. And got a great administrative team here. They're going to help me today as well as we got to do some planning. But then when I get home tonight, going to spend some quality time with my family because they deserve it. But when they start settling down, going to really hone in on the scouting report, get that done, communicate with the guys, and then it's just a cycle. It's a long 3 months when you do it. But the thing is, I wouldn't trade it for anything. It is what I love to do. I am very fortunate to do it, and I'm very blessed to be able to do it.
All right, last one for you. And well done giving a shout out to your wife. You're a smart man. Behind every decent dude is an even better woman, and that's the case in the Randazzo house as well. I don't even know if I'm a decent dude or not. Well, that's up for debate still. But
you're a decent dude.
Andy Say was on the show last Friday, and he's sitting here taking credit. First off, I didn't even know you guys were related until you won 30 games, and now he's taking credit and telling everybody that he's related to you. And then he's also saying that you're taking all of his stuff. So a rebuttal or a thought on Andy kind of trying to take a little credit for what's going on at Sherrard, I should say.
Yeah, I think what's the quote? Like, one of the signs of flattery is or imitation is a great sign. Something like that. I know I'm messing it up, but Andy had so much success at Rockridge. Why wouldn't I take his stuff? And so the defense stuff they say in the pack line. I mean, he came and watched us play Chicago Diet earlier. They were a little bit different, so I know we're a high-tempo pressure team. Obviously, we schemed a little bit differently. Maybe looked a little bit Rockridge or UT-esque that game. But I do give him a lot of credit. I mean, he did get the better of me quite a few times when we were competing against each other at Orion and Rockridge. He's a heck of a coach. So I'll give him credit where credit is due. But, maybe the Tigers and the Panthers can hook up next year for a game.
There you go. Don't give him too much credit, please. His head is already big enough. We don't need to get Andy's ego even bigger. So, hey, I appreciate you doing this. You got a ton to do. Get back to work, and I'm not going to bug you on Friday night, but I'll be there, and I'll be cheering for the purple and gold. Best of luck.
Hey, I appreciate it. You can bug me anytime, Matt.
All right. Alex Johnson, head coach of the Sherrard Tigers. They are in the Sweet 16. They're going to host a sectional championship on Friday night when they take on Peoria Manual at 7 o'clock. We got more to get to on Off the Air on a Thursday. We'll be right back. When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Are you looking for the Quad Cities' best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air on a Thursday here in the Quad Cities. Thank you guys so much for joining us. You know, I was hanging out up here earlier today. I got all my stuff up here that I'm adding to as we go. And I see a straggler right here. And I come to find out that my brother snuck this by my house the other day. And he said it's a duck. I called him and he said it's a duck, but it's a strangely formed duck, if you can't see that right there. So with that nice new bird, I'm going to put it right by Don Umland. I think that's and Pat Anger. I think that's the best place that little bird needs to go to. So thank you to my big brother, Larry, for watching the show. He says he doesn't watch. He's a huge fan. Biggest fan I have. Larry Randazzo. It's amazing. So anyways, I want to thank everybody for watching today. I want to thank our guests as well. Good to catch up with Tommy. Big night for the Iowa basketball team. Big night. I don't know if it's a big night, but big time. Interesting time right now for the Iowa basketball team. So we want to thank Tommy for joining us. Really, really fun to catch up with Celia Palermo. If you missed that, go check that back out as well. And then also, congratulations to Sherrard and Alex Johnson. They are heading to the Sweet 16 and a sectional championship game. They'll host it against Peoria Manual on Friday night. So thanks to Alex Johnson as well. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing and all the things that you guys do. We really do appreciate that as well. One more show to get you through the week tomorrow. And again, if you miss the shows, because 2 hours a day is a lot, so you can go back and check them out. I find that over the weekend, people go check them out over the weekend, kind of catch up. So really good stuff from earlier this week. Gary Dolphin and Pat Anger on Monday. Awesome. Go check that out. On Wednesday, we had Scott Docterman, really one of my favorite people. What I said to him is he mixes knowledge with opinion so well. You know, he just doesn't come on with an opinion and says it. He's opinionated, which is really, really good, but he's also knowledgeable and backs it up as well. So go check out Scott Docterman on Wednesday as well. We'll have one more show for you tomorrow, and then we hit the weekend. So have a great Thursday night, Quad Cities. Enjoy the day. We'll see you back here on Friday, right here on Off the Air. Thanks so much for watching.